them say. There's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios, but not really, located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 846. Not so Final Destination. I mean, there's
Kinda
6
Final
of them,
Destination.
so like it's not really final.
It's
Right?
not really.
Rube Goldberg machine.
Yes. Yes.
Rube Goldberg Looney Tune cartoon.
Yeah. So let's Bloodlines. Forgot that part. Crosses over with that Netflix show. So let's go around the virtual table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
This is Matt.
And this is Tom. So before we dig in, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That is super helpful.
Hey, we have one.
We have a review. I sent it to
Hey.
Joe. It's not an Apple review, and that's okay.
Yes.
All right. What review?
It's
is
it's
it?
a it's like a
from
Facebook
the Zoom
recommends
store. Oh, sorry, no, it's from Facebook.
This one comes from I'm gonna say this as best I can. Constantine either Scheiman or Sheeman.
Constantine,
Nope.
Joe.
This
I
one starts with a K, not a C.
Have you never seen Muppets Most Wanted?
That's true. Yeah, right. And it was a recommends on Facebook. I've been delivering packages for UPS the last 11 years. Over that time, I've listened to music, audiobooks, and podcasts. I came across Real Spoilers a couple of months ago, and I haven't listened to anything else. I come for the tangents, and I stay for the spoilers. Apple Music won't go further back than episode 129, so that's where I had to start. I'm now up to Zack Snyder's Justice League, so at this rate, I'll be caught up in a couple of months, and that sucks. Keep up the great work.
Well,
That's
you.
fantastic.
That's a lot of
That
listening.
sounds like he's not deep enough into the Matt F Basler era to really fall off.
He's catching up. Or they're catching up. I don't know. I can't tell.
He's going to get to a point where it's like, they keep having this guy on talking about all kinds of stuff I don't care about.
I will say, as garbage as those, any chance I have to on those movies, I'll take it. I did stumble across a TikTok where a guy went through it's like a 3 TikTok series, which is 90 seconds, but he breaks down like what that was going to be, and maybe in the hands of a different person.
I don't know. We gotta just stop.
I don't want it to happen, but like when they describe it, it's like that's a wild
now,
take.
Hold on, Kevin. When James Gunn's Superman fails, they're gonna crawl back to Zack. I know this to be true.
Do you think he's gonna be the head of DC Studios?
Oh my God! Could you imagine? They're like, "We're so sorry, we messed it up so bad. It's so bad."
Okay, normally it is fun to talk about what could have been.
Yes,
the development.
I agree.
Let's talk about what is it? James Cameron's Justice League.
It was.
Didn't James Cameron do it?
James
Flash
Cameron was going to do Spider-Man for Canon Pictures, which is just insane.
Yeah. James Cameron's Spider-Man or George Miller's Justice League.
Yeah.
It's fun. These were the scripts. These were the actors. It's fun. But when you perpetuate this toxic group of speak, which is going to just James Gunn has a movie coming out, burn him at the cross. It's just like,
I will say there's a
moment.
this isn't spoiling anything, but there's a moment in the new trailer that sold me on David Cornsweet
Good,
where he does the Christopher Reeve thing where his voice is like a higher octave when he's talking to Lois.
Oh, the switch.
And then she wants to interview him. He agrees to. He's like, you can interview me. Yeah, right. You can interview me as Superman. And she was like, you want me to interview you? Because she knows who he is at this point. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So they start talking, and then she was like, all right, Superman. And the dude just kind of like leans forward, and his voice drops, and you're like, oh,
awesome.
he gets it.
Did you? Okay, but here's the thing.
He code switches.
Yeah, exactly.
From an objective, Snyder, and again, the Snyder movies, there's some hits, there's some misses. We're not talking about fans of the just like Zack Snyder movies. We're talking about the toxic, release the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
My people.
Right? Yeah, Matt's people. We're talking about Matt's people only. But the thing is, like, did we ever have a reason to doubt James Gunn, like from a objective view
I think
based on
if
his
you
material?
give James Gunn a movie of this caliber, like around the time of Super and Sliver, then you have a reason to question, right?
Okay, but
this James Gunn, who
when
is
Super-
3 Guardians in,
right.
a Suicide Squad that is better than David Ayer's Suicide Squad, I don't know how you.
Have you
Bag
never
on it.
seen Romeo and Juliet?
I have.
That's all I needed to know. The guy that came up with the penis monster.
That's
Give him
redundant.
anything.
That's true.
But we talked about this when Guardians was coming out, and Joe, right? He had to eat his
100%,
hat,
man.
so to speak, right? But because
Yeah.
he's like, I just don't know about this movie, like Guardians, whatever. And like he's proved us wrong time and time again, and he has never released. And James Gunn's never had a bad movie. Like he's just never. Even though Scooby-Doo movies were hits, right? He wrote the Scooby-Doo movies.
He
made
wrote
them into
he
something-
wrote Dawn of the Dead.
I know, which put Zack Snyder on the map.
Yeah.
His first movie, right? So like,
Oh,
he's
the
never given-
irony.
Isn't it?
I know,
right,
Now
right.
they are
Big time.
mortal enemies.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. Here's the thing: Zack Snyder and him are not enemies.
I know.
but his fans would
Yeah.
make you think that. But Zack Snyder's like he's.
The companies make them pretend they're not enemies,
Oh.
but I know.
You've got the inside track.
But
Look, I have all kinds of pictures with red circles drawn where he's not actually putting his hand all the way on his shoulder, so they're not really friends. He's signaling to us, the Snyder fans.
I hope Superman makes $8 billion. I hope that it is the most successful thing ever, and I just can't wait to hear the reason and excuse.
What was
for why,
the-
Oh, the studio was buying tickets to the movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's
I just saw there was a tweet that was about, there's a scene where you see Guy Gardner use the power ring.
Oh
and,
God,
like-
I saw your tweet about
And
that.
it's
where
just like,
someone's
what
"That's
are you
not how that
talking
works."
about? Like, yeah, that's not how that works. The construct must come straight from the ring. It's like, oh boy, that is all right.
Because it's the straws. Do you see how far away
Yeah,
they
right,
are?
right.
And they are trying so hard. It's like, just let this movie come out. This is the thing. We knew it, right? Like even a year or two ago, didn't we say like this?
Oh, it was
going
gonna
to
get hammered.
Tough. Anything that comes out, it is going to be negative after negative after. I mean, it was to be expected.
Yeah.
So, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Facebook, facebook.com/real spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Shares because we are hoping you will share an episode. We've got 2 weeks worth of show shares to get to.
3 episodes this week, I might add, with the Patreon.
Yeah.
Long awaited.
Yeah. So people who were kind enough to share an episode: Richard Krotzer, Tom Dowdy, Chris Magic Man, Julianne Jordan, Travis Tewitt, Gabriel Lugo, Ralph Tribble, Brendan McGuckin, Taylor Ward, Heather Sachs, Librarian Cynthia, not to be confused with Siberian Lynthia,
Very different people.
Michael Tonkovic, Tammy Lynn Powers Betts, Constantine Shyman.
Thank
Oh,
you.
okay,
Thank
okay.
you, Tom.
No problem.
Comic reader right
yeah.
there.
Ken Holtzhauser, Spoiler Piece Theater, Batman, Rye Guy, In Session Film, Edit Photo Gamer, Geek to Me Radio, Colby Mack, Mike and Oscar, Ryan Terry, Ronnie Castle, Matt Naglia, James Install, Geek to Me Radio, The Real Pete, and Nostalgia Cast. So thank you very much for sharing an episode. We greatly appreciate it. Don't forget that you can see all of these over on the YouTube at youtube.com/@Real Spoilers. And then finally, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month, you get occasionally released bonus content. And we like you
Maybe,
extra.
maybe.
We like you
And,
extra.
you should point out too that like this UPS fella, how many of these has he been listened to for free?
He is kind
know,
of greedy now that you put it like that.
Maybe he should just throw you guys $5 for a couple months.
Just that's all we need.
And
for
there's
the
record-
clear his conscience a little.
there's always the clip out.
Yeah.
No, that one
For the-
makes money. Get out of here.
For the record, I've decided if we ever have technical issues like we had on Wayne's World, we are re-recording. It would have
I'm
been
really-
so much. It
Really
would have been
sorry
so
about
much
that.
faster. It's fine, but I realized it would have been so much quicker and so much easier to just talk about it again and record it with how much work that was. Like it's just
Well, for
You
you,
know,
it
not-
was work
not for
for
me.
us.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah, it was
think?
easy for
that's-
us.
Come on.
Do you know how often after 800 episodes I realize how nice it must be to show up and just talk about movies?
Oh, it's great. That's why we do it
I
this
love
way.
it.
Yeah, it's great.
I highly
It's
recommend
gone
it.
for 13 years.
Yeah. Why?
Watch a movie, talk about it.
It ain't
Yeah,
broke.
Kevin,
It ain't broke.
I did. I have a podcast. I have a Patreon, and we talk about records on there.
Yeah, record
And
club.
I'm doing the record club, and we did an episode where I didn't have Dylan's. I recorded Courtney's mic twice.
Oh.
Right, so Dylan's mic didn't record, and I listened to it, and I did a couple compression things, and it was just worse. And then I went, "That's fine. You know what? They can still hear him." And I put it up.
We had a whole episode where Dan was there. Dan was with us in the
But
room.
he didn't see the movie.
I thought his
It was a
microphone
blind man
didn't.
synopsis.
I thought his
so-
microphone stopped working.
It did, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
a blind man synopsis, so he literally had nothing to say about
It's
the
wild
movie.
to think
so
that I think
it-
that was Josh Trank's Fantastic Four,
Oh, was it that one?
and now we're
Yeah.
getting a new
Yeah, it was.
Fantastic Four.
Oh my god!
We should bring Dan back.
We
but
should
for
let
the-
Dan be on our Fantastic Four.
Don't get me started
But
on
then not record him.
Yes, correct.
Ah!
that. You're talking about my Fantastic Four right now, Josh Tranks, and I think they're going to bring. I've heard that Crackle is going to buy Josh Trank's Fantastic Four universe, and they're
Release
bringing
the
it all
Trank
back.
cut. They were doing that for a while, weren't they? Release the
There
Trank
is a cut
There-
apparently.
I
That's-
know.
yeah.
That was a thing at some
He
point. like-
he said he wanted
I
to
think
do
that
a,
was just him doing
maybe
that. I
that
don't
could have
think
been.
There was
That, it's
anyone else.
wild to think that that movie ended that guy's career.
he was gonna have a Star Wars.
No.
He had a
movie.
Boba Fett. He
His-
had a Boba.
It wasn't that
Well,
movie
that's
that
true,
it was
yeah.
his attitude that
Yeah,
ruined
yeah,
his
yeah.
career.
But seriously, could you believe if he just didn't tweet? And that's why Matt Singer famously on Twitter every so often goes never tweet because what's the he lost his career to
Yeah.
tweeting.
Ended it.
What was the point of it?
He had- yeah, he
he
had
was
a
a director of a Marvel movie
And he had a Star Wars movie coming.
I know.
Yeah, he was
And
gonna do Boba
because
Fett.
He tweeted, "Were the tweets worth it?" Like I do feel like I don't know. It's a mess. It's just a mess.
I'm a big fan of people taking big swings and other takes on stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm always well, hold people before a movie comes out, they'll be like, that sucks because of this, this, and this, and I'm always like, well, just let's see it. You're probably right, but whatever. But if somebody said, okay, what if the Fantastic Four was body horror, I would have gone, oh man, I don't know, I don't
Let's
think
do
we
a
should do
Cronenberg
that.
version of the Fantastic
Yeah.
Four.
That's like maybe you should make your own movie. Don't call it Fantastic Four.
Right.
Do
You know
a
what just
different
sucks?
thing.
If 10 years after that, what has it been? 10 years?
I think it's
When
been
did
longer
that come
than
out?
that.
Okay, so whatever, 10 years, whatever. If Josh Trank went out now, famous Josh Trank, director of Star Wars, director of, all these other projects, came out and said, I had a cut. And it was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he could have said that all, but, he was so worried about protecting. Well, I get it. None of us, if we directed a Marvel movie that was getting completely shat on, I know it would be so hard not to be, studio interference, right?
Right.
You'd want to say it. But, if he could have just, held back.
Didn't
and had
he
a-
trash a hotel room or something too? He had some offset.
Yeah, he also apparently he got into
behavior.
it pretty bad with Kate Mara and Miles Teller, which, from what I've heard about Miles Teller, not that hard to do to get into a
Sure.
pissing match with that guy. But the way
Well,
apparently
I
the way
saw a
he
whole
treated,
movie about it.
That's true.
Him and that teacher.
wasn't putting up with his crap.
What was it? Slower, faster? What were the words? Rush?
Not my tempo.
Hold?
Not my
Oh,
tempo.
whole, yeah.
Is it
Man,
Hold
that
and
scene
Rush
when
or
that
something?
scene when he's just nope and cuts him off.
So
he
good.
does.
That
Oh man,
movie's so
that
good.
is so good.
Well, let's dig into Final Destination.
Oh yes.
You're at
that's
work.
right.
What's the rush on your end? You're at work. Don't you have time to kill?
I don't know. We've already had an ambulance call, so you should
That's
probably
fair.
pay attention.
That's a
boy.
good point.
Yeah.
So these movies, when they first started coming out, it was just the first one is oh, that's kind of a cool concept. This guy has Devon Sawa has a premonition on an airplane about the airplane exploding. I think this first one came out maybe a little close to 9/11. I think.
Wasn't it 2001?
I think
thought it was.
It was I think so. And he basically has this premonition, and then all of the things start happening. So he freaks out on the airplane. He ends up taking Allie Larder and Sean
First
Williams.
one came out in 2000.
Okay.
Okay,
So very
all right.
close. Yeah.
And then Death, because they've
Becomes her.
circumvented this thing, Death is like, oh no, I'm still going to get you. So they just devise all these different ways
I
to...
picture Death being like, I'm gonna get you.
That's very funny.
Gucci, Gucci, goo.
Gucci, Gucci, goo.
It's a great concept, though.
Yeah.
I think
It is
this
great.
movie.
So this
is-
was these are X-Files writers, and this was going to be an episode of the
Oh.
X-Files, and the people at the X-Files was like, don't waste it on just an episode of television. That's too good of a concept. And
Okay.
they retooled it into a film, and
now they're 5
they
deep.
own an island.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That no, seriously though. I mean, it is such a good premise for a movie, and the only thing I know about Final Destination is logs that on a truck. That's
Final Destination 2.
That's for whatever reason that captured the collective
Still.
zeitgeist
Well,
of.
well,
It is
a
for
really
people that have
funny
never even
thing-
seen it. Know it, yeah.
I think it's very funny that people will be like, they'll see a log truck and they'll be like, I've seen people say this, that everyone's scared of log trucks because of Final Destination. And that's not, the whole thing is that everybody has that fear.
Right,
Like
right.
anytime anyone, and that's what I think Final Destination, the airplane, it's like nobody's watching, going like, oh, people didn't used to be scared of airplanes, but Final Destination came out. And I think that's actually, if you say Final Destination made people scared of log trucks, that's kind of not giving them enough credit, because they took a thing that everybody thinks about and put
I
it.
don't.
Well, here's
in
the
a
they
movie.
I don't know, man. I
they
don't
gave it
know.
a visual representation of what could happen. You see
It's-
that
it
log go
reminds me-
through that cop's face.
It
Right.
reminds me of like when a comedian says a thing, and you're going, "That's so true."
Yeah.
And I think there's something even like maybe smarter about. Well, no, I guess it's equally as smart to create a fear for everyone. I don't know. Just it was a really good way of pointing out a thing that everybody is already afraid of.
You're not, Matt. You're not wrong, but
Thank
think
you.
about
Stop
it.
there. Quit talking.
Well, much like one of the main characters in this movie that is like, I've figured out everything, and this could happen, and this could happen, whatever. Like, there's a million things that could happen every day, but we don't point them out. But if
You mean
are
not- you
behind
mean
a
not-
log
Yeah,
truck-
yeah.
You mean not
Well, and
Laurie
also,
Strode?
It is crazy
Yeah.
that a thing I think everybody has thought about is now connected to one movie. Like,
I
Right,
think
but
that's what I'm
did
saying
that.
though.
They
Is like
did
I
it.
think
we don't walk by a I don't know, whatever. An
we don't.
anvil on
I
the
gotta tell
side
you know
of
what I
the-
don't do. I don't walk
when I
under
walk by an
plate
anvil,
glass.
when I walk by an anvil, I think a Wile E. Coyote.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, if I see like a crane carrying a giant piece of glass, I'm not walking under it.
But give me an
Well, sure.
object. Give me any object.
Was this like
tennis
improv
ball.
comedy? What are we doing?
Yes.
Tennis ball.
Give
Oh
me
my
an
God.
object and a profession.
profession.
Okay, tennis ball. Okay. Oh my God, a tennis ball could launch out of the shooter, and then it could hit a glass, and the glass could fall over onto a tripwire, and the tripwire could then send an electric pulse into a light socket, and the light.
Well, it's- I mean,
socket
even in
could
the
then
first
short out.
one, isn't
But
the-
we don't think about that when we walk by a tennis ball. Like the log
but-
truck is now the thing that because of this movie.
Isn't Matt in the first one when they kill the kid in the bathtub? Doesn't
Yes.
like the thing the string or whatever it is move on its own? Like it's not like he slips and it
he-
accidentally wraps
he,
around
like,
his neck.
It's a pretty goofy effect. I think it's intended to be like he like falls against it hard enough to like swing it.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a clothesline. I think he breaks it's like a clothesline or something,
I don't know.
and
what-
he
it was
like
something in
falls
this
into it.
tub.
It snaps off the wall and then swings with the
Oh, okay.
momentum of the.
Okay.
I mean, it's some loose physics.
You just
Man, and
that's
also-
the
Well,
you just
if you're
kind of
going to have
accept
loose
it.
physics, a bathroom is the place to be.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I watched all of these this week. I watched all,
Thank you, first of
up to
all.
6, and the amount of times Death drips water onto an outlet is it's like its go-to move.
Is that the common thread line? Is that water on an outlet is
Except in this one, I don't think there's any water on outlets.
There's
in the
water,
6th one.
but you're right. It's like
okay.
spilling
So-
water or whatever.
So in this movie, when I saw Tony Todd, rest in peace.
yeah.
this is the last movie, right?
It is, yeah. And you can, I
Okay.
mean, you
Yeah.
can look at him and see that he is
and
not in
I
good
do
shape.
think it's cool, but it is cool that like he still showed up and like gave fans another movie to watch him in and all that stuff. But is he in the other movies?
Yes.
I've never watched.
Yeah.
I don't know anything
So
about
the
these
running
movies.
gag in those movies is that when he references, he's like, "This girl came to see me." That's Allie Larder, right? Is that who he's talking about, or is it Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
So no, I think it's probably
Allie
Wait.
Larder.
because the girl from the second one is the one that lived.
Yeah. So
beat-
Allie Larder and Devon Sawa are like the two leads of that movie. We find out in Final Destination 2 that Devon Sawa like locked himself in a room to keep, everything away, but he ends up dying in this room anyway.
Brick
So
fell on his face.
yeah, that's right. A brick fell on his face. So Allie Larder is the survivor in 2, but then she dies in 2.
She is institutionalized, or she institutionalizes herself.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And then, what's her name? The lead from the second one
Oh,
goes to talk to her
yeah.
to figure out how it works, and then she's the one that in this movie, when it's like JB found someone that lived, it's the girl from the second movie.
Okay, so
the
it's the
girl that he
lead from the
found is
second
from
movie.
Second movie. Okay.
I think so, but I mean, he could be referring to any of the people that came to see him.
Right. He references
actually,
he
she's-
references a
she might
girl,
be
so
the-
I think it's either Allie Larder or
She might be the only one that sought him out. Devon Sawa and Ellie, they were breaking into the funeral home. I kind of forget why, and he's just there. But in the second one, they seek him out because Allie Larder says, this guy seems to know something.
Right,
Maybe he
right,
can
right.
tell us more about it. And then, yeah, she is the one that drives the ambulance into the water
right.
and dies, and they bring her back. And the end of that one ends with them at a barbecue, and a kid blows up
So good.
at a grill.
Is that the is that
Because
the-
normally they
is that the razor wire kill?
yes, yeah.
That's a good one.
So this
hold on,
movie-
I'm trying to make sure
This
that's
movie
right.
gives JB an origin story, though. Like,
And
what
we're
this
Yeah.
movie does,
and we're told that he's the same character through every movie.
right?
Like we're led
Yeah.
to believe that he's this Tony Todd has played the same character every single time.
is that what we're
Yes.
supposed to think, or did you before think he was like that? This was an anthology.
So I thought he
a
was
random
supposed to, I
character.
think the theory before this one is that he was death. That
Yeah.
he was
Okay.
the angel, he was death, and that's why he kept popping up.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's sure is an odd fella. If he's just some guy, like, he really goes.
But he
like
would have intimate knowledge of this happening, of avoiding a tragedy.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay. So I gotta say, I've still never seen Ghost Ship, but this has to be an all-timer of an opening.
It's
Like,
pretty
this-
impressive.
This opening had me where it was like, where are we going with this? And then the way that everything happened with the Rube Goldberg of it all, though, like I thought this opening was great.
This is
This is too. Also, I feel like it's the first one that kind of does anything different with the formula. And I mean, it still opens with this premonition, but then it's not our main character's premonition.
Right.
You know, we jump ahead in time. And yeah, I mean, especially after watching 5 of these in a row, it's you do kind of start to go. And I mean, they're very formulaic, and they need to be. It's what you're going for, right? Is the fun machinations of death. But it was cool to have them like, hey, we're still going to do it, but there's a little bit of a different
yeah.
angle to it.
Isn't
I
the
gotta think this is because it's Guy Busick from or from Radio Silence.
It is,
one of the
yeah.
writers on this
Yep,
movie
yep.
is taking the formula, and obviously, we've seen him retool Scream, at least one of them with 5 Cream, where it's like you've taken it and to the next level, and obviously the original properties.
I'll tell you,
but
the opening we've talked about that opening of Scream 6 is
the
great
opening of Scream 6
because
is genius
they
if it
twist
went the other way.
Yeah,
if it went
right.
the other way, and we watched the whole movie knowing
Yeah.
we told that would have been a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But still, like, you've got a guy that loves horror and has made a couple of really good original properties, but then also has taken existing properties, and he does the same thing here, where it's like, we're going to make Final Destination 6, but we're going to do something different with it. And so I think right from the get, you get this opening scene, and it's really smart the way they twisted it. and turned it on its head. And it was a really exciting scene too, right? Like it just went on and on and on, and I just thought everything that she was seeing in her premonition, and then watching it again, and the way she stops it.
It's also cool, right? So she saves everybody, right?
She saves everybody, yeah.
So you couldn't do that in a Final Destination proper.
Yeah, you can only save
people.
like 6.
Right.
So that is a neat way to do something like that with more deaths and
with a different
whatever.
character, making it not the main
Right.
character.
Right.
but
Which,
yeah.
by the way, I have seen people saying that incident is supposed to be all of the Final Destination. Like, Devon Sawa's character is connected to that. That's
Yeah.
Death Catching Up.
That's
But
how
not.
That's how I
it
interpreted
can't be.
it. That all of the Final Destinations we've seen are like the splinter timelines.
I don't think
that
so.
have
Because his
echoed.
parents are alive. Devon Sawa's parents.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Aren't
Devon
dead.
Sawa's
Oh,
parents
the times
don't.
wouldn't line up with the 50s or 60s.
No, not
or
even that.
70s
But they're like
parents
they
or-
they don't die.
would-
Like they're alive in
It
those
would
movies.
kill his parents first.
Oh, right. By the logic of this movie.
Yeah, because
This movie
it says
goes
it needs to be sequential. Like
Right,
it kills them
right.
in order.
of the way
of
they would
birth.
have died.
So like, so it would have to kill like in
It's
the way
so-
they would have died.
It kills them in order that they would have died, but then like when it gets to like if you were the 5th one that had died, if you
it goes through your whole chain.
then it goes
your
through
whole,
your
Right.
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
offspring
because those children weren't supposed to be
chronologically,
there.
because they weren't
Okay.
supposed to exist.
Man,
I gotta
that
tell
would've
you,
been
this
cool
one,
if they could have tied it all together.
this
That would've
one
been real cool.
is, it's funnier than any of them.
What? Okay, here's how you fix it. You go back and you find out that they adopted.
That reveal,
Yeah.
that reveal in this movie
That's a good reveal. That's a
with the
good
kid
twist.
who I
I love
thought
it.
was who
that guy.
I thought that and when I first
MVP
saw
of
him
the movie,
initially,
right?
I thought he was the kid from Hook,
Which one?
the son. I thought he was the son from Hook when I saw
I
him
didn't know
initially.
who he was. He looked familiar, but I'm like, that guy's the MVP of the movie. He
was
was
great.
really funny.
He was great.
He was good.
Yeah, and the fact even so the basic premise of this one,
Max Lloyd Jones is Paul.
and not the kid from Hook.
Richard Harmon is the actor that played. He was in a couple other movies I didn't recognize, but Richard Harmon played Eric. He's the brother that we find out is adopted.
No, he's not adopted. He's born out of wedlock.
Sorry, he's the,
Right.
he's not sorry, not adopted. He's the yes, you're right.
Which is even funnier.
Right.
But I think it's nice because we talked about another simple favor, and like everyone's just a dick, right?
Yeah.
And this guy's kind of a dick, but like I don't know. A lot of times when they make a dick character, they're just awful. Like they're just not
No,
fun
this
to watch.
guy, this guy's good where he has that smart ass dickish attitude, but you're right. They've shown enough things to where he will do good things. He's just like he's hurting from different things, right? He's like he's got his own issues, but like you can tell at his core he cares about his brother. He doesn't want him to get hurt by the peanut butter, right? Like his allergy
Right.
that he has. And even when he finds out that he's not blood related, it's like, but he's still grown up with him. And the
Well,
same
he's
with
still
the dad.
blood related. He's his
The
half
same mom,
brother.
but whatever. Yeah, sure. I mean,
Okay, yeah, but it doesn't. But my point is, it doesn't change anything. He cares about his family. Like he has that goodness in him
Right.
that is not going to change things. So no, I just thought he was great in that reveal. Again, I think when you get credit to all writers, but still, I think when you see what Guy Busick has done with these other movies and done with Scream 5, like
Well-
I just feel it has to be an influence on a twist.
Oh,
like
100%.
that.
100%.
and that's like, I think a thing that is happening. I can't think of a ton of movies right now, but I get the feeling it happens a bunch, and it's frustrating. So, like, what's a movie we all agree is like terrible? Halloween Ends, right?
All right.
True.
So-
yeah.
They go into that movie and they're like, okay, we got to do something different with the formula. What if Mike Myers was in it? What if Michael Myers was just a feeble sack of dust and some random guy was the killer? And you're like, no, what? Don't do that. And this movie is like, what if the premonition that started it all was this flashback? And what if someone did beat death forever? But here's the they're still giving you all the things
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing, right? We still want like the stuff that we're going to this for.
And we
I
get
gotta
it.
say, this
And
movie,
we get it, yeah.
I'm not a fan of Final Destination, not by choice.
Well, you're an
whatever.
idiot. You're stupid.
So thank you. I never watched them. I maybe saw the first one when it came out. Never saw the others. Don't know anything about it. This movie, in my opinion, is exactly what one would want from a Final Destination movie.
Yeah,
everything
absolutely.
that you're expecting with the kills and the entire thing's a Rube Goldberg machine or whatever, and the kills are like insanely good.
Yeah. And they all make
this
sense.
Is,
Yeah.
No matter what you think about this movie or whatever, this is a 10 out of 10 Final Destination.
That's
Easily.
what I'm saying. Like
Easily.
you could not make a better Final Destination.
You know, it's funny.
which
Like I feel like these were on the same track as Saw movies. So like we were getting one
Yeah.
of these like every year, and then for whatever reason, like after 5, which I think is a really good, the ending of 5
Did
is so
5?
smart.
Did 5 try to do a time jump where it was actually the first one? Is
So
that the one that,
the end of 5 is we have our main characters who have beaten death. Basically, they're on a plane. They're going on a trip, and then
they meet the guy from 1.
you don't see him,
Essentially,
but you know that
it
it's
is
Ali
really
Larder,
funny.
Devon Sawa, Sean William Scott. They're getting onto the
It's-
plane.
He's like putting his bags up, and then he looks over and he sees them getting kicked off.
Oh, it's the
plane.
commotion. That's right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his girlfriend's like, "What was that?" And he's like, "I don't know." But if you go watch the first one, it's a huge, long. He's screaming.
Yeah.
It's like you absolutely would have heard that whole thing.
But then you realize the time is actually 2000, and it's
Yes.
the time
Yeah.
like you don't.
And
know
the, but here's the fun thing about that. If you go back and watch 5, they give you all the clues.
They
In the-
are there,
Like
what
their
time it
their
is,
cell
and-
phones are like flip phones, and there's just a bunch of different clues in
That's smart.
5.
the music they're
That's-
listening to, the diegetic music in the
Yes.
film
Yeah.
is earlier. We were talking about that the other day. That me and my lover,
Who?
my beautiful, perfect lover, Courtney.
Oh yes.
That if that movie had come out 1, 2, 3 years later, it would have been so obvious. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
sure,
Like,
sure.
It was
you
right on
can-
the cusp of switching the technology and music and
Yeah.
stuff that it.
5's pretty good. I think probably what derailed this whole thing is that 4 is an awful movie.
4 is so
people
bad.
People were done with Final Destination when 5 came out, and they didn't give it a chance.
That's what I would think. That 4 made money because people are like, these are fun. They watched it, went, that sucks.
So why is 4 so bad? What happens in 4? I don't
So
know.
okay, let me tell you. Let me just do this for you. In
3
5,
is 3 the roller coaster?
yes.
Okay.
1 is plane crash, 2 is the logs, 3 is the roller coaster, 4 is the racetrack, and 5 is the bridge.
You're right. That is a real bad one.
So in 5, main character, he works at sort of a corporate job, but he wants to be a chef, and he has this opportunity to take an internship in Paris. But he doesn't want to do it because he has a girlfriend that he loves. She breaks up with him. He's devastated. Later in the film, we find out she's breaking up with him, not because she doesn't like him, but so he will take this opportunity to go to France. And she works at the same corporate job. In 4, I don't know. The guy is a guy. The lady is this girl he's dating.
Is 5 the opening scene on the bridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
4 is just such a bad... I mean, I really don't know anything about the character. I couldn't tell you like what their deal is. They go to a racetrack, so there's just nothing to like care about. The kills are fine. I mean, it's not... if you're going to watch these movies and you really like them, I think go ahead and watch 4.
Right.
It's because the Final Destination parts are fine, but it's just such a bad...
But the characters and the writing around them are not
Yes,
good.
yes.
Okay. And that's the problem. So we've talked about this time and time again. If you don't care about the characters, and I know if you're just there for the kills, that can be fun on its own. But if the characters and the writing is so bad, getting from kill to kill, it can just be like, this is...
You need to... the Friday the 13th did have a really good model with this, where you need to have at least 1 or 2 characters that you're invested in.
Yes.
Right? The final girl or the girl and her friend or whoever. Like, you want them to survive. You
Right.
you watch a movie like Jason X, and you're like, kill them all.
Yeah.
I don't want any of these people to survive. I want Jason to
Otherwise, you're-
survive. That's who I want to survive.
Otherwise, you're just watching like Faces of Death or something. Like if
Right.
if you just want the cool kills, but there's no movie to it and no characters you care about,
Right.
then why are you wasting 1 hour?
Or
and
even in that first and
27
second
minutes of your
in the
time,
first
you
one,
know?
you're like, well, how is he going to get out of this? Like, how is Devon Sawa going to figure this out?
right.
and
You
I
need
think
survive.
something to
the
root
first
for.
one's good.
The first one's real good.
I think 1, 2, and 3 are all.
I
mean,
don't think
2
I've ever seen them. I really don't.
5 is,
Two
I think,
is-
1, 2, 3, and 5, and this one are good. Like the 4
and
is
also,
the misstep.
Yeah.
I think 3 is not great, but Mary Elizabeth Winstead is. Like she makes
As
that
always.
movie.
She's too good. She's a little too good to be in that movie
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie, let's go into the plot of. So we talk about there's this amazing opening, which for a Final Destination movie, like do any of the other ones last this long? I mean, this
No,
one
no,
is
no.
like, really in depth.
No, this one's pretty in depth. I mean, all of them do have like the scene on the bridge is long-ish because they have to kill everybody on the bridge. But this one is like you get, you are two who we think are. I initially thought, oh, this is going to be set in the 60s. Like this is a Final Destination period piece. So they're going to what looks like what's that restaurant?
Seattle Space
the
Needle,
Space
right? Is
Needle,
what
right?
it looks like.
Yeah, that's what. And so we've got this couple, and they're going up, and they have this reservation, and
Oh, they have reservations, all right. Well, she does.
basically, this guy thinks he's got an in with this new fancy restaurant. Turns out he does not. So they're trying to like finagle their way into this restaurant. They hit you immediately with the elevator, where the couple's like, no, we'll wait, and the elevator guy is like, no, come on, we've got room, and I'm just kind of like, nope. This is how it ends.
This movie edges you so hard.
Oh yeah.
This is one thing that I was curious about with the other movies, having only like known the hits, right? Only seeing like the log truck and whatever. Like it was crazy how they strung you along and showed you. Like I called this anxiety the movie. It's just everything they keep showing you. This glass is gonna crack, and this penny's wedging here, and this like they show you for 15 minutes or something.
I don't
like,
think
they just,
that was a thing in the first two.
They just
Not as
kill 'em and
much.
they-
It's more Rube Goldbergian, maybe less. Is this gonna?
Right.
Man, I can't remember which one it is. It's 2 or 3. It might be 2. So these kids are throwing rocks, and they throw a rock they hit a sign, and a guy's mowing grass or whatever. And then she goes in. She takes her kids in. She's going to get her like a manicure. She's being a horrible, Karen, if you will. All this stuff happens inside the shop, like the fan
This is
falls,
2.
this
I think
and
this
that.
is 2.
And it's all crazy, but nothing happened. It all like falls apart, and she's fine. And then as she's walking out the door, the lawnmower hits the rock, and it goes through her head. So they do. I guess never mind.
It's
I
kind
guess,
of
yes,
it
they've
is.
been
It's
doing
kind
this
of like
forever.
Hitchcock, though. Like Hitchcock, I think Hitchcock is not severely, very influential on this scene because we see this penny. This kid is throwing this penny. I do like where the cop's like, hey, don't throw that penny. Like you're gonna kill somebody. And he's like, no, okay, officer. And he turns around, he's like, fuck you. And he throws the
And
penny.
he says, actually, physics would not allow the penny to kill anyone.
isn't that the deal with the world? Like,
Unless it got sucked back into the
yeah,
vent.
right.
and-
Which is what happens. And so, like, you see all of the,
Terminal
like,
velocity.
you see the penny get stuck in this thing, but then it cuts back to this couple, and they're standing on the thing, and they're getting, she says
they're
that
on the deck. They go
he
outside, he
proposes.
gets
She
married.
tells that she's, pregnant, and then all hell breaks loose, like, because of this penny.
Right. So this kid throws a penny. The security guard says, "Stop throwing those." And he's like, "Yes, sir." And then he's like, "You big fat ass." And you can tell he's like Junior.
I
from
was like,
Problem
kill
Child.
that, kill that kid.
He's Junior, right? Like that's all I
Right.
could think of. But anyway, he throws the penny and it gets wedged in the fan, and then a gas line breaks, and all this stuff's happening. Meanwhile, they're proposing and have this romantic moment. And she says yes and puts on the ring, and everything goes like you said.
I gotta tell
And
you, the gag with the ring where it doesn't
That
go
was
on
great.
all the way. Like I
That's
was
great.
like, oh, that was a
Is
weird
this a little
thing.
tight? Yeah, this is a little tight.
A little
It was
tight,
perfect.
and then
she's
when that
holding
comes
on
back into
by-
play, I was like, God damn it!
Well, and
The skin of
didn't
her
that
finger.
there? I felt like there was moment where you're like, oh, that's gonna save her.
Oh,
She's
sure.
gonna be able to like climb back up, and that's gonna be the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
she
great.
Didn't listen
yeah.
to the premonition or something, and then it's
Nope.
That's kind of a fake out, right? It's just to
It
give you
is.
this
Yeah, it's
gross
great.
degloving.
Of her
Yeah.
finger, yeah. And then everything kind of starts happening. The dance floor shatters and people start falling. There's a fire and people are like running around like
Getting
fire
caught on
stunts,
fire.
getting caught on fire. The building starts to collapse. Like pieces of the building are falling
The
off.
elevator.
The
We already
elevator.
see the weight limits like 4 adults. They
Right.
had 5 or 6 in the beginning, which was stressful. Then 20 get in it.
Yeah, and they're trying to run
You know
down the
what?
steps and they can't get down the steps because it breaks.
Like what you were saying about this kind of Wile E. Coyote. This has some of the like. A lot of CG gore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But they do it in a way in this that I'm like, at least they're like ratcheting up the gore that you really couldn't have done it practically.
Yeah,
I
this
mean,
is
this isn't taking a body mold full of like red jelly and dropping it off of a building. This is very much like we're going to set these people on fire. We're going to,
or like we're
Which
gonna
that I
squeeze
believe
someone's
was
head until
practical.
it
Yeah.
explodes.
I think
Like,
that
the
was
gore is-
practical. I think when they put her in that trash compactor, I think that's a
Really?
practical model.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's practical
her
stuff
eyes pop
touched
out
up.
of her head though.
I'm
Like,
telling
it's
you,
got their
I
CG there. There's-
I don't think so because I
Yeah?
just watched a doc about Tom Savini, and Savini was doing stuff like that in the 70s,
Yeah.
where he was making models that had their eyes pop out. And
I know
Maybe-
it just
maybe
looked a
I'm
little.
wrong.
It's good though. I'm not trying to
I
like
feel like-
discredit it, but
That a lot of times CG gore is used to be easier, and in this movie,
it is
yes.
they found things that it's like we couldn't really do it. Maybe there'd be a way to do it practically, but we want to do it all in one shot, or
Right,
where you
right,
can
right.
see it all. So we're gonna do it CG, and it is gonna be a little cartoony, maybe.
But it fits, right? It fits
Yes,
the
yes,
tone of
right.
the movie. That's the thing. So we talk about CG. We've talked about it since the show has been in existence, about how CG takes you out of things and more practical effects. And obviously, we still love practical effects, but this movie utilizes CG in a way where it ramps up the gore, and it just fits somehow because of the Looney
I think it's
Tunes-esque tone of it.
because it's Looney Tunes esque, and you kind of accept that it's goofy. You accept it with its goofiness.
from that
Yes.
opening scene. Once they
Yeah.
go with that initial Rube Goldberg and people are on fire and doing this and they add the comedy to it, you're like, oh, that's what we're watching. And then every kill from there gets to be super gory and out there to where you're like, okay, it makes sense, like in this universe.
Now, what's sad is that in the kid gets squished by a piano, and then I guess that didn't actually happen. We didn't. They should have shown us a flashback of how the kid died when it finally
I
caught
thought
up
the
to
piano
it.
hit that woman in the face.
It does,
did,
and
but
then
it falls.
And
The
then it
kid-
falls
the
off the
Oh,
building.
that's right. That's
Junior
right.
from Problem Child,
He
they do
gets
the
out.
thing where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
he's so bad that you're
Right.
just like, and he brushes his shoulder off. He's like, ah, ha, ha, I'm out of here. And then the piano hits him, which is a really good head fake of like, how is that kid going to get out
Right,
after he
right,
did all
right.
this stuff? But you're right, though. We don't know what he actually grew up to do or how he died or whatever. But anyway, so that sets it up. So what we find out, spoiler alert, we find out that, as was alluded to earlier, death is now coming by this sequential rule of like she saved all these people in that opening scene, so
And
it now
she's
has
pregnant.
to.
She's pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is-
all
yeah,
legit.
yeah. But
And
so
she
now,
was the last to die out of like 100 people.
No, Tony Todd
So-
would have been the last to die.
Sure. But so it's taken so long to get to her
her
that she has had a child.
Which-
Other people have too in this whole line.
This I don't understand. I feel like this is a plot hole because we see that she's been doing all these things, but the internal logic of the movie would state that she really didn't need to, because until it wound its way through the rest of the people, she should have been safe as a kitten, right? If it's killing them chronologically.
I guess.
But wasn't she helping other people live longer too, which was delaying her death? I feel like
No,
she
I
was
think I think the only
helping
death
everyone.
that she was delaying was Tony Todd.
Right.
She was
but-
the second to last death.
Yeah. So the longer she stayed alive, the longer he stayed alive.
But
Did it take-
but they state in this movie though, like when you with death, like
It can get
stuff
messy.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't follow
Yeah.
always the logic. She is the one that avoided hundreds of deaths. So like death is like, well, I'm skipping over these rules for you because
I
you
don't
messed
think-
this whole thing
Which they
up.
do when they.
Did it take? Because I think I just said it took years to get to her, but did they say that, or did it just take like a year? You know what I mean? It mainly just took long enough for her to have a kid.
No, they said
Two
it took
kids.
a long time to work through that whole timeline because remember when she puts the pages. So her grandma Iris, we find out, is like the whole family considers her to be nuts, and but she is the woman, the young woman from the beginning of the movie that saved everyone with her premonition. We find out she told everyone about it, got them out safely, and so for years and years she's been developing this notebook, which just full of crazy things. And is it stuff from every movie? Weren't all the things?
There were a
gags
lot
from
of
movies?
because you see an
Yeah.
airplane, you see the roller coaster, you see
the log truck,
the
yeah.
log truck.
So she's been getting evidence and tracking everything and trying to figure it out. And when Iris, or when her granddaughter, the main character of this movie, finally takes all the stuff out of her notebook, it ends up being a timeline.
Yeah.
And it's like it took a really long time to get from the incident all the way to where they are now, because it has to work itself through the whole family tree. It has to go through the first person that was going to die, all their kids, the second person, all their branches that go down. And so it was delayed for decades from the
Although-
50s or 60s.
Presumably, if you really want to drill down on this, there were a lot of people that were probably done having children at this event, right? Like we see a lot of people
Right.
in their 50s and 60s.
okay. So to backpack off of that, if they've already got kids before they died, those kids would be safe.
Right,
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
killing people who should not exist.
Correct.
Wait,
Right.
but what if they were going to kill their kids in a murder? Suicide.
But,
No, because
Yeah, it's not airtight. I mean, the logic of the movie is not airtight, but I think it's a really unique idea to put a twist on these movies from what I understand to be fairly formulaic, where they've now said, well, instead of just this one event and trying to save 6 people, they're saying, here's how we save hundreds of people and how does it affect the family tree. So the long story short is that this family now is the next on the chopping block.
Right.
They've gotten to Iris, which means they're going to her kids.
Which
mother-
the Iris kill I think was pretty fantastic. Like
where she has to prove it to.
Well, this movie helps. What helps this movie is seeing it with a packed audience that want to be there,
Yeah.
because
Right.
the
Yeah.
reactions were in this audience were spectacular. Like it was oohs and ahs or laughs when they were deserved, not when they
Not
Oh, yeah, it's
inappropriate
fine.
laughter.
appropriate laughter. Yeah.
And I
And,
guess I
when
think,
Iris
too,
takes this, I don't know what that was,
weather
the-
vane or
something
Yeah.
through the jaw, and our main character, I was gonna say not.
So Stephanie is the main character. She comes home from college because she's having this reoccurring nightmare for 2 or 3 months now. She can't get any sleep, and she finally has to leave to go figure out what the hell's going on. And that's where she wants to meet Iris. Her whole family says Iris is crazy. She was committed, and this, that, and the other, whatever. Like no one talks to this woman
Right.
anymore. And it come to find out she's the woman from the beginning. And
not
she
Laurie
ends up-
Strode.
Right. It's this very much
It's the exact same thing. I did think
trap
also,
house, whatever.
when I saw them, Stephanie, the main character, I was like, did they want Melissa Barrera, and they couldn't get
I
her?
think it
'Cause
had to be.
She looks like
that was
Melissa.
supposed to be someone. Or you're talking about just a different actress? I'm saying that I feel like that was
the
supposed
mother,
to
Iris
be
should have been someone. Iris is
From
supposed
the
to be a
series.
horror
Iris,
icon
yeah,
or
I agree.
something,
Iris,
yeah.
if they could have gotten
Oh
Ellie
wait,
Larder.
no, I don't think Iris. I'm saying that
Oh,
their
the
mom.
daughter.
Oh, the mom.
mom,
The mom
yeah.
could
When
have
she
been.
steps.
Yeah.
What is?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
think of the name of the girl from 2.
Ellie Larder.
No. The main.
Oh, the main
character.
girl. Could you imagine if they were if Mary Elizabeth Winstead was like, "Yeah, I'll come back. I'm not doing
bet they
anything."
would've.
See, to me, I got Iris gave me the Laurie Strode vibe.
100%.
That's
Crazy
supposed to
hair,
be
Kimberly.
living
So-
off by herself, like in a
Yeah.
Kimberly, I see what you're saying. Kimberly's the girl who survived from the second one, and we find out she did live. The way that when they're at the funeral for the dad,
grandma.
is it?
It's the
It's grandma. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. And she steps off of that RV.
The mom
it
comes
felt
out.
like we were supposed to be like,
I agree.
no way.
That's her.
Yeah.
Because
just
I saw the first two, and they were fun, but I never finished it out. And I honestly was like, is this somebody from one of the movies that I either didn't see or don't remember? Like
Sure.
I thought it was supposed to be some sort of connective tissue.
They
Yeah.
did that. They did that in the Final Destination movies. Nope, that's not right.
Oh.
Paranormal Activity, like in the
Right.
third Paranormal Activity, there's a daughter that gets away. No, in the second one, there's a daughter that gets away. She shows back up in the third one, and you're like, oh man, she's still alive. They
Yeah.
kill everybody else, and then they kind of leave it open that the daughter of this other person from the second movie was going to come back and try to fight Katie and whatever. But that also never happens. Like that's another movie.
And it
that
doesn't.
series
I
that
don't know
quit.
who it would have been other than Kimberly. But then that wouldn't fit with this story at all.
I think
so,
at the end of the day, they use JB to be the connective tissue with
Right.
all of them, right?
Yeah.
And they go that route. But so she goes to visit Iris, the crazy grandmother that no one's talks to. She lays out this whole plan in this book, and that how she's trying to hold death off and all this. And Stephanie does not believe her. It's like, okay, I got to go now. And she's like, well, the only way you're going to believe me is to show you. So as soon as she steps out, then the whole Rube Goldberg of it goes on. The wind blows, a weather vane goes through her eye, right the perfect time, blood splattered all over her face, and so now she's a believer.
Right. And then she goes back and she tells, they have to go to this funeral. And we're reintroduced to all of her cousins, her uncle, her mom, who has been estranged from them since she was 10. Everybody
She
shows
walked
back up.
out when they were. She just left.
Yes. When Stephanie was 10, the mom left. And so now Stephanie she opens the book and she starts going through the book, this murder book, and she figures it out. She looks like Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny, where she's got all the newspaper clippings up on the wall.
So they have this book in a lot of movies, right?
Of course.
This trope or whatever. This I mean, it was oversimplified, but this is the first one where like I felt like I knew what they were like, that it made sense, I guess, in a way. Like, I think a lot of times it's just a book and they're blah, 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 and then they go like, whoa, I've got it. But this one, like, what they showed you was like, oh, yeah, I guess you would get that from that.
Well, especially when
like
all
more
of
often
the
than
deaths
not,
are
it's a lazy,
publicized.
it's a lazy plot device to be like, here's a piece of information we don't know how to get you in any other
Yes.
way, and we don't want to
Right.
take the time to write it out.
Sure.
So, like, here you go.
But also, all of the incidents would be like front page news
Yeah.
for whatever town
Yeah.
they're in.
Yeah.
The truck accident, the bridge collapsing, the plane exploding,
Sure.
the racetrack thing, I guess. So she calls the family down and she's like, "Look, this is what's going to happen." Oh no, wait, this is I'm sorry.
They're at the barbecue.
They do
for,
the
like,
barbecue.
after
Yes,
the-
you're right. You're right. Which again, we get the whole thing. We get a piece of glass in this. I'm trying to think. How does the uncle die?
He ends
So
up
there's
stepping.
a trampoline that's gonna have a rake, and the, mom
Trampoline and
ends
the
up seeing
rake and then the
it, she
lawnmower
moves
to the
it.
face.
Right?
Yeah.
He
Oh,
steps on the
lawnmower
glass
to the
and
face.
falls
That's
over.
right. That's right.
The ice gets dumped out, and then the dad steps in the glass and is like, "Oh no, I'm okay." But then the rake falls over and hits the lawnmower. The lawnmower starts, and then
He had
Runs
fallen
over
and the
his head.
It
lawnmower
like comes
hits
down on his face.
Yeah.
This was one of the funnier scenes in the movie. The lawnmower falls onto this guy's face, and then they immediately cut back to a funeral,
right?
which I thought was
They've done
so
this in
funny.
another movie where people keep dying and they're back at the same
Yes.
funeral
the
again.
monkey.
This is
the monkey.
it the
Yes,
monkey?
it is the
Okay, I'm
monkey.
Where
like,
the
Yeah.
I've seen
uncle,
this.
and it's the uncle, right?
Yeah,
He goes to
yeah.
live with the uncle.
Yeah,
and
That's
then,
so funny.
yeah.
That's
I'll
the
tell
only
you,
thing is
too-
from like it's a little familiar, but
So
As far as
here's
funerals. Oh, go ahead.
here's a fun tangent. My grandfather, step grandfather, but which makes a difference from a Final Destination.
That's true. It does.
Right, right. You're safe.
Yes, he lost 2 fingers in a lawnmower
Yikes.
accident. So it was in the 80s when they finally came out with like, you guys might be too young to know this, but like the lawnmowers didn't used to have the release handles when you let go,
Sure.
and
Oh,
okay.
and it kills the engine. And so my grandmother like went and bought his name was Ralph. Went and bought Ralph a lawnmower. She's like, I'm going to get you on these fancy lawnmowers with the kill bar, right? And so he's tough old guy, and he's just like, I don't need that. That's for pussies. And he,
Did he tie it
and
together?
he takes just a
Yeah.
shop towel and
Cool.
ties it together. And then like it's getting clogged up because the grass is kind of wet, and he goes in there to like pull out some of the grass and like sends him flying.
Oh
And
my
so
god.
he had to go and get his fingers reattached.
And then the fingers hit this ball that
Yes.
rolled down
yeah.
a gutter, and
So, but if you ever lose a finger, here's helpful advice from Real Spoilers: don't put them on ice because that will cause frostbite.
Correct.
You want to put them in a glass of milk.
Oh.
Oh, I thought that was a teeth thing.
You put
Well,
it- I
both,
think-
'cause it's
fingers
like-
too?
Yeah.
yeah, like
I
it
think
keeps
it's
them.
the same.
It keeps them
idea.
cold, but there's like nutrients that keeps it.
Oh my
That
god.
makes sense.
Okay.
That makes
put,
sense.
it,
Yeah.
put it in a glass
I have
of
to
milk.
try it. I have to
Yeah.
try it.
Okay. And then you have a treat for afterwards.
You do.
Right, yeah.
Uh,
Ooh.
I was gonna
Um,
say the as far as funerals in the Final Destination franchise, in 2, when the girls die in the tanning beds,
Yeah.
and they do an overhead shot of the 2 tanning beds, and then they like smash cut to their 2
Coffin.
caskets.
That's fantastic.
beautiful.
That's so,
it
that's
just-
so
dude,
good.
I love a good cut. There is nothing
Oh,
better
yeah.
than editing that cuts perfectly. Like, well, I will say one of the best movies of editing ever is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Scott Pilgrim is incredible.
Like that is the best. But when other movies do that, where they do a smash cut to something that's so great, Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World is one of the best cuts ever.
Is that with the girl?
Yeah, the little girl,
Getting
then the mom
chewed up.
screaming.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
cuts to Goldblum abruptly, but you don't know. Like it's a perfect cut to
Yeah.
where he's just standing there, like yawning, but it's a tropical
Like a match cut? Is that what they call
poster
it?
behind?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
While this girl is
brilliant,
being
right?
torn apart by tiny
Right, but
dinosaurs.
he's like, and it looks like he's like smiling,
Yeah.
like with the tropical trees behind him, but he's at a subway, and
That's
it's
funny.
just stuff like that it's so great. But anyway, so they have to. So now she's like, listen to me.
yeah. Now
This is
she
gonna
lays
start
it. Now
working
she
its
lays
way
it out to the whole family.
through the family, and the next up will be the funny character we were talking about earlier,
Right.
the-
And then, but everybody
right?
kind of
Eric.
basically tells Stephanie to go fuck herself. Like, we're not, we just buried my dad. We're not dealing with this. She's starting to sound like the grandma.
yeah.
And the whole family begins to turn on her, and they all kind of leave. And then we get to a
Then we
scene. What?
Cut to Eric.
Yeah, we
at
cut
his
to Eric at the
job.
tattoo parlor, and I gotta tell you, didn't see this coming.
No, this is great.
They set
is
this up
so good.
perfectly, where it's like,
This is,
a chain gets stuck around a fan,
It's on his-
and the
and on
fan
his
gets
nose ring.
the chain gets stuck to his nose ring, and he's like having to.
And
You've
he has
got
to
like
climb up on a chair
polyurethane is
and,
like
yeah.
all over the ground, and all of this different everything, but he makes it,
Yeah,
and he
He's like- he's
walks
like-
out.
He keeps narrowly escaping death, and he's like, "Aha, I got it!" But then he falls into a fire and on glass and whatever. But and then so the next day they're like, "No one's heard from Eric."
I love the fact that this does the exact opposite of convince him that
It's,
Yeah.
Yes,
that
exactly.
Rube Goldberg
exactly.
is trying
yeah,
to kill
yeah,
him,
yeah.
right? Like, he's like, see, everything was fine.
Right.
They go
thing
and find
about-
the guy, and he's just walking around with like a fire department shirt on. He's like, "Yeah," they're like, "I was so lucky. He's unscathed, except for he got one little burn mark on his arm."
He got
Right,
branded.
I
He got branded.
I
Yeah.
like that in the Final Destination movies, they do a lot of teasing, right? Like, oh, he's
Yeah.
going to step on the rake. He's going to trampoline on the rake.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, you still, like, get that kill,
Absolutely you
right?
do.
Like, your
Absolutely.
anticipation. And, I mean, it's the same thing in horror movies. Like, oh, don't show the kill. It's even worse. And in this, you get, like, 4 extra vibes of a
Kills.
kill
Yeah,
before
but-
the one actually happens.
Right. So we've got Stephanie, Eric, and then Eric's sister, and they're walking down the street, and Stephanie's like,
Because
I don't,
we have found out at this point Eric
is alive.
is not.
No,
Part
No,
of
no, no,
the
we haven't found out
plot.
yet because
Eric's
the
like-
sister-
Eric's like, "I'm invincible.
Oh,
What's
sorry.
gonna happen?"
Yeah.
Right.
And
You're right.
Stephanie is like, well, they're walking by all this Rube Goldberg-esque stuff. Where it's like, "Don't touch that tree trimmer because that could fall, and then these kids are playing soccer, and a soccer ball could hit into your face and knock you into something, and whatever." And he's
as
like,
soon as she
"This
says
is-
knock you into something, the sister gets hit in the head by a soccer ball and falls into a trash can while a trash truck is driving by. The
And
trash
throws
truck
her into the
throws her into the compactor, And you think they're like, they make it, the guy is
You
listening
get the
to
scene that George Lucas was too much of a pussy to film.
Yeah.
But what's great too, though, again, is that these writers have flipped the script on us yet once again. Not only have we had the fake head fake in the beginning, and then now we have the head fake of while Eric's alive, he didn't die, and then they're like running after the trash trucks, like, oh, and they're all gonna save her, right? Like they're getting in front of the truck, and Stephanie's climbing on the truck. And
I do like that the
hand.
trash guy's listening to "Stronger" by Kelly Clarkson while swiping on
Oh,
Tinder.
well, I thought for sure they're gonna pull her out, and he's gonna get smashed by the
Makes
run
sense.
Like, that's what
over
I'm
or
Makes
saying.
sense.
Like we're all like, oh my God, she's gonna go. Stephanie's gonna save everyone. They're all gonna make it. And then nope, the sister does get in fact squished. Her head in the
Stephanie
compactor.
pulls her arm like out of the.
Yeah, brains are going
Yeah, it
everywhere.
was pretty
her
gnarly.
arm falls out.
Pretty
right,
great.
so like they do that head fake where nope, she doesn't make it, and then they go back to the family, and she's like, look, this is happening.
They're like, I don't understand. I screwed this up. Like it should have been Eric.
Yeah.
I don't know why it went to her, and I do like
The
the
mom's
mom who's kind of she's like, well, you know that when me and your dad were having that difficult time, and Eric's like, are you telling me that my dad was not my dad? And she's like, no.
Hey, fun fact about your mom. I like the D.
And they
also
give
like
this name of this guy, and he was like, so and so is my dad. And this is another funny scene where he's like, that's why he was always trying to play catch.
That's why he always
It's great. Like, it was really funny, and they did the specificity thing again, where it's like Mr. Flobenston. We don't know who this is.
No,
but,
no
like,
idea.
It's just funny because they name this rando guy as like the gym coach or something. You know?
I
But
also
there's
think
a movie where we would have seen this guy, right? And he would have been a
100%.
total dork, and you'd be like, okay.
the total stiff
yeah, I
whose
think-
son was like, a tattooed up piercer.
I think not seeing this guy makes it way funnier.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Like
And
we
the-
know,
yeah.
we know everything we need to
We know, yeah.
He's-
We
this
got
guy
the name.
sucks.
He sucks, whatever. And so it's very funny. But so now we find out that the brother, Bobby, is going to be next.
Right.
It's
Oh,
already been
another-
established he has a peanut allergy.
Dumb online thing. I keep seeing people say, "Well, then why did all this stuff happen at the tattoo parlor? Why did Death do that?" And it's like things happen.
Oh,
like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I had the same question because yes, things happen, but that was such a Rube Goldberg
Very
Final
much was.
Destination
For
situation
sure.
that like I don't think that you can just chalk it up to like a wacky coincidence. I
Right,
feel
right,
like
right.
Death was trying to get him, and I don't think it was there just
I don't think
to
it was.
head. It was there to head fake the audience, and like, but the thing was, it worked so good that I kind of don't care.
Why
Right,
would
right,
Wile E.
right.
Coyote not notice it's a painting?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be parallaxing. He would see it.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, obviously, you're in a Final Destination movie. It is so good, like Tom said, but also he's also this family adjacent. He's also still half. I mean, it's not the father's bloodline, which Death's going after, but he's still in this family. I think with the way the rules are kind of messy, like they've explained, like he's just enough part of the family where Death's still coming for him, but it maybe doesn't have the same hold on him. Like, I just think it's
Well, it
explained
definitely
away
does still
enough.
come for him.
But
Right,
at that
but
point,
he's-
he's trying to
Mess with
change
Death.
it.
Yes,
by
correct,
saving
correct.
the brother. So
It's like I do think he's still adjacent enough to where like Death's coming for him, but maybe the rules don't work sequentially as they normally do. Like,
hey, I'll find you a bunch of articles about people dying in weird and wacky ways that aren't because Death targeted them.
So they go through
Or-
the book.
Are they?
That's
Oh
right.
no!
They go through the book. They find out about JB. Stephanie's mom is like, I remember my mom talking about this guy. He works at a hospital.
Wait, hold on. I mean, also everybody in this movie is gonna die. I don't think that
eventually.
Final Destination takes place in a world of immortals. Like,
yeah.
but
so I
Death doesn't
guess-
want to wait.
right?
It's not waiting.
But Death's coming for them all eventually.
Yeah.
It is funny. It seems like Death's give up move is give you cancer.
You know what? I can't find you. Cancer. You get cancer.
Well, it's just so I mean, Death is an artist, right? And cancer's just kind of lazy,
It is.
right.
Yeah.
It's-
Now you
And
just
I
gave
do
up
agree.
trying.
That's why it took it so long to get to these people, because it's like it wants to do its big, fun, long
Yeah.
thing.
If something's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
He wants to be
Right.
dramatic.
And eventually he realized that if he just gets rid of her, the old-fashioned way, whatever, then he's going to get so many other kills after that.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Sorry.
Right.
Anyway.
So yeah, they figure out that this guy works at this hospital. They have another pretty funny moment where they walk into the hospital and they walk into the morgue, and this guy is openly doing an autopsy, and they're
His
like,
name's William James John Bloodworth.
I know, it's ridiculous. It's so funny. And they're like, "Are you JB?" And he was like, "No." And then we hear Tony Todd in the back, and we get the whole shebang about he was the little boy that their grandmother and mother saved, and he was the last one. He was the last one that was going to die.
And I think that's neat, as not a fan of the series. I know for people part of the series that thought he was Death, that was probably kind of a bummer, he's just a guy or whatever.
Nah,
but
I mean,
for me,
it's
I'm like,
it's
that's kind of clever.
It's
that
fine
he-
to get him
yeah.
to come back one last time.
Yeah.
And he gives a pretty, and I don't know, I mean, obviously I think in real life he probably knew his time was running out.
I read a comment. This was just from a comment that someone was saying that the director let him kind of decide what he wanted to say.
It very
the
much is a
fans.
Because it was
saying
very
goodbye.
close to home with what he was. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they basically say, okay, the only way to beat this is you have to die, or you have to kill someone, and you get whatever life is left from that person.
So just
Which
become an
does-
abortion provider.
Oh yeah. Which does happen.
You'll live forever.
It will, yeah.
It might be 4, where a guy, they're at like a factory, and he gets in a fight with this guy, and he sort of inadvertently makes him stand in the place. He falls, he gets a thing through his head, he dies. And he's like, wow, I beat it. And then at the they're having a drinks at the bar, and a guy tells him yeah, I mean, guess it doesn't really matter anyway, because he had this brain bleed or something. He had some condition that he was about to die, and then it gets him.
That's funny. I like that too. That's good.
It's clever though. I like that at least they've built up the mythology of how it works. That you can take their time that they have left and they can do twists like that. I do think these movies are very clever in this mythology they've built around death, and
I
they're
think
just fun in the kills the way they do it.
As far as a thing with rules, it does pretty good. Now I don't understand why Tony Todd's still alive. I mean, he should have been next.
Because they have to go. They have to go through the family.
He's the kid
Never-
at the end. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, they
it
have to go
goes
to the
down that
family.
whole line first,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
would
Yep.
go for him.
So they've now explained it in this movie of the order of things. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So
they
I love
realize
the scene where the two brothers
Oh, it's so good.
and they look over at the newborn
They're
and they
contemplating.
just have this because that's the first place my head went.
I like where Eric was like,
kill
we're
a
not gonna-
baby.
we're not going to kill a baby.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But why
Well,
don't they
okay,
find
no, we're not
baby
gonna do it.
Hitler?
Here's
Ah.
here's the thing: a crossover between Final Destination and Darren Aronofsky's mother.
Oh my gosh, it's
They
right
just
there.
eat the baby.
You eat the baby.
Eat the baby.
It's a win-win.
That's right.
That's for Brad Hine. You're welcome,
Yeah,
Brad.
that's for Brad. That's right. So the brothers, was it Bobby? Bobby has a pretty wicked peanut allergy where his throat will slam shut and he can't breathe. So Eric says, "Look, we'll just give you some peanuts and then you'll die and then I'll bring you back and you're going to be fine." And then
He's
Bobby's
very
like, "This is a
confident.
terrible idea. This is a terrible idea." So they realize there really is no other option at this point.
I like how Bobby's just so nice and innocent, and he just goes
Yeah.
along with everything. He's very much the innocent, just whatever. Okay, I'll go along with this. And their ideas are all so crazy. but,
Right.
what are you gonna do?
I also like how the alt rock brother is so jaded and kind of a dick, but also not at all a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He's still he's very much loves his family and he'll give a shit, but he really
He'll give him,
enjoys
but
them.
nobody else better give him.
and he really enjoys them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is kind of sweet.
No, it's cool. Yeah, it is cool. We were talking. You might have been gone, but we were talking about how that character, like they showed you, he's a good person. So
Right.
he's not just because otherwise you'd want to see him die in
Right.
a crazy way. But they do give you enough heart to it. But so they're at the hospital. They got this crazy plan. They go to the machine to get him a bag of peanuts, and he's like, "No, I am not going out with that old bag of peanuts.
That was
Get some
great.
peanut butter cups." It's
Yeah.
funny, right? So
I
But
also
the peanut butter
love-
cups get stuck.
when he eats the peanut butter cup and he's just like, God damn, that's good.
Yeah,
like he's
right,
never
right.
had
he
one.
He thinks something's happened. You know, the
and
Eric
the fight
thinks.
over like, are you now just all of a sudden not allergic to peanuts?
Yeah.
Like he's getting pissed at him. It's really funny. But they give you the other head fake where like the peanut butter cups get stuck, and then the brother Eric is like trying to push the machine, and Bobby's like, he's gonna fall over on me, and you think he's gonna die. But they set up the spring that then pops out
Yes.
and like shatters the glass a little bit and sits there. But they go into the what is that? An MRI?
It's
or
an
a CAT
MRI
scan?
machine.
MRI machine, and then one
'Cause it's
series of
magnets.
events.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing leads to another. The thing gets amped up into research mode, super high power,
Which is just
and-
ridiculous.
I-
Like
it's ridiculous
research.
that you could
The
just-
fact that the levels even said research mode.
I know it's been
Ludicrous
set up.
speed. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but to be fair, this movie has set up that it's a Looney Tunes
Yes,
movie, right?
very
it's
much
like
so.
Gremlins
Yeah,
2.
yeah, yeah.
Gremlins 2 sets up it's a Looney Tunes cartoon, and so this movie, in the same vein, is ridiculous. The phone flies to the keypad of the thing, and somehow the phone hits something that would put it to research mode. But
Right.
everything metal starts throwing in here, and then
first Eric gets his facial piercings pulled out because the
Yeah.
magnet is so hard.
all the piercings, one after
And
another,
and then
you
his
find-
Prince
nipple.
Albert gets pulled out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny when you see one, and then the chest piercings, and then goes down to his pants, and he's getting pulled. into
Yeah,
the
right,
machine.
right.
But the spring ends up going from the vending machine through the
Well,
doorway.
no.
and-
First, it's Eric is getting sucked into the machine
wheelchair.
because the
Yeah.
wheelchair goes behind him, and
Yeah.
like a pretty gnarly death,
It is.
where
It
like
folds
the
him
wheelchair is
backwards
getting
into
pulled
the-
through his body.
Yes,
and
he's-
bent. Eric is bent backwards into the machine.
Yeah.
and dies that way. A nurse runs in, turns off. No way.
she opens the door, but then the machine.
Oh, that's right. The
is,
machine and zips the spring out,
the
and the
spring right into his head.
the spring.
And
Not
it's-
only does it go through his head, but it starts to spiral.
it does the spiral.
And I was like,
Yes.
dang, that was awesome. So
is
now,
this from the Book of Saw?
I mean, this is very much a funnier version of that.
When
Yeah.
I thought that was a clue that when that spiral
Oh,
went through him, that might have been
Yeah.
from the Book of Saw.
so now we're left with Stephanie, her brother, and her mom, and they realize we're not going to beat this thing. So they end up going back to the
to Laurie
grandma's
Strode's
house.
house.
Well,
Yeah.
at this point in the
Laurie
movie,
Strode's house, yeah.
when they're like, we need to go to Grandma's cabin, I had that feeling of like, ugh, now we're going to have to do the driving, and they're going to have a scene where they talk and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
right,
And then
right,
it's
right.
like, no, wait, this is a Final Destination movie. We're just going to be there. We're at the end. It's the end. We're doing it. Like, these are all, this one I think might be the longest one, but
Yeah,
they're
1 hour
all
and
like,
50 minutes, I think.
yeah. But they move along, and they're all pretty short.
It
and
feels brisk though. Like
does
feel
doesn't
brisk, I
like
agree.
it's even because I thought the same thing going in. I looked to see how long it was, and I was like,
Yeah.
an hour 50. Like this needs to be like an hour 40. Like
Yeah,
that
Me too.
just
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah.
I
and-
think that opening scene, the flashback, right,
Yeah.
adds a good chunk.
That's the
That's
time.
fair.
doesn't feel
Yeah.
long, right?
It's a
That-
20-minute opening scene, but it's exciting, right? And like,
Yeah.
wait, again, I was saying it just edges you the entire time, where you're like, oh my god, how many different things are going to come together?
then,
you
right-
see it all.
when we come to current day, I think you do kind of have a feeling of like, okay, the movie's starting,
Right.
and then it feels that long or whatever.
That's
I don't know.
no, totally. So
No,
they-
no,
so
I
they-
did it. I did my thing. I don't know. I don't know.
whatever, it's
Matt, We
fine.
tried to stop you before you could say it. So they get back to Laurie Strode's cabin.
That's right. And then this is basically
Well, also when they're like, let's go back to the cabin with all the spikes that stick out everywhere.
That has to be intentional, right? I think that's because I think that's very funny, and that's another complaint I've seen online. People being like, "That's so stupid. That place doesn't look safe at all." That's like a joke, right?
Right.
Like,
That has to be a
it
joke.
feels like it to me that
Well, okay. If she was being that safe and that secluded, I don't think she would have a gas line in her house.
so totally
That's
Right.
the problem.
Right,
If
right,
she's
right,
a
right.
survivalist, I don't want anything affecting me. Right? You wouldn't have electricity. You wouldn't have light
Except-
switches. You wouldn't have gas. You would
Death's
not have
number
any-
one move is to drip water on an electrical outlet. So short
right?
stuff
so
out.
You wouldn't have any of that. So when the gas line goes up, I'm like, she wouldn't have that.
No.
She's locking herself in a place that has to have nothing that could accidentally.
I have questions about her finances and how she got
Oh,
food.
yeah, I know. Peter had a really good job, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah, I
So
don't
they
know.
go up to they get there, they get through, and all of a sudden, like, things are starting to happen at this
Well,
cabin.
they have to ram through the gate because they have to, like,
Right.
death is coming for them in a hurry. So they ram the gate. The car gets wedged right next to, I guess, a lake
Well,
or
it's
something.
her
There's
Stephanie's seatbelt gets broken, so she's trying to
Right,
figure
a
that
whole
out. The mom
thing happens.
The mom and the brother kind of get out of the car. They open the door to the
I'm
cabin.
just glad to see somebody finally take on big seatbelt, right? Like, we hear so much about how seatbelts save lives.
Oh, who
Not
paid
now.
for
Never hear
Who
the
paid
other
for that?
side of the story. Never.
That's right.
So, but thankfully, now that we have RFK in office, we're starting to see movies tell
And I think
the
didn't I just
other
see that
story.
California is getting rid of fluoride in the water?
Florida.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, not California probably wouldn't.
Oh
do
no,
it.
Florida. Florida.
Yeah, Florida makes
Florida.
sense. Yeah.
So super cool. Good job, guys.
So they're like, but the thing is, again, remember we have the rules. So the mom is next on the list. So she's
Right.
like, you got to get her in the house to be safe because
Then
whatever.
everyone
but-
else will be safe. Yeah.
But
Correct.
it was as we later on
well,
find
no, the
out,
mom
like, when
said
you
no,
met-
no, no. The mom says, "I will live in this cabin. I will stay here. You guys
Right.
will have a long life, and then we'll be fine."
Right,
She
but-
opens the door, and it explodes in her face.
Yeah, and
From
we
a
found
thing that
out
was set up at the beginning
Correct.
of the movie,
Yeah.
where the magnifying glass like burns this rope for a little bit,
Right.
and the mom notices it and moves the magnifying glass. But that's been
Established.
breaking this whole time,
Right.
and that's fun.
Yeah. So the mom gets blown up. We think. The RV gets flipped over, and now Stephanie's like underwater trying to get out of the water. The brother is trapped under shrapnel or whatever, and we think that in these movies, spoilers for all of them, with the exception of 2, nobody makes it out alive. Like, death gets everybody in the end. So we end up seeing the
Has
mom,
Death won every movie, all 5?
with the
Matt?
exception of 2, right?
Yeah.
Like, she gets away in
They
2.
all end with, but wait, and then smash.
Okay, so
Smash.
that's their jam. Got it.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Same thing for this one.
So it looks like the mom's dead, blown up, but then she ends up getting up, saving the brother. She lifts the rubble. Then she's like, "Go save her!" And then a pole lands on her and completely squishes her. or something.
Completely
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes when they do these deaths, it's like, oh, dang. This one's like, no, we're just going to smash them all. We're going to squish all of them.
This movie does a really good combination of like head fakes, long elaborate deaths, and then just a sudden killing.
Yes.
and
Yeah,
not
totally agree with you.
The good old fashioned Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah, I mean,
bizarre.
the dad getting the lawnmower to the face is a quick death compared to his daughter, who is like actively being crushed in a trash compactor.
And the head
Yeah.
fakes of thinking she has the glass in her drink, and she
Right.
tries to be like, "Oh, it's a bug." Like, again, I think the Guy Busick punching this script up enough to where you're getting these really clever fakes. It's not just like, "Oh, we'll do cool kills, that's enough." It's like, no, they keep the audience on the edge of their seat. They keeps you guessing. It's really fun. Yeah, it's a good time. I think this movie's really entertaining to watch because you never know what type of kill or who's safe or any of that.
Right. So the
So
brother
he goes underwater.
brother
tries to
dies
save
back into the
sister.
car. He keeps trying to cut her loose, and he can't do it. He ends up cutting his own finger. Finally,
Ooh, that's gross.
he cuts her loose and pulls her out, but she's dead. So you see,
yeah.
right? You see her vision. Well, we think she has died. The brother resuscitates her, and you're just like, oh, all right, cool. Like, they did it. They
And then I
made
was
it.
like, that's really smart. What a great way of writing
Yeah.
to be like, oh, because that's how you kill someone and bring them back and cheat death.
Right.
And then they take it to the next level.
Another thing that I thought was a really great piece of writing is the brother and the CPR, right?
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
there's one stray line
Madam
of
Web.
dialogue. there's one stray line of dialogue. How did the brother meet his prom date? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
No,
he's
what?
a lifeguard.
Junior
He went to-
lifeguard.
Yeah.
Senior lifeguard.
Oh,
That's
It's
pretty
because-
smart. Okay.
Because
Okay.
in a
Yes.
regular, if it wouldn't been for that, I'd have been sitting there in that last scene going, "How does an 18-year-old kid know CPR?" Like that's just
really smart.
But I'm like, he's a junior lifeguard. Like they laid the groundwork for that. Like
They did.
that's
That's
not
true.
a plot hole.
And
So
they
you thought you were like, there does need to be a scene where they're in a hotel and for no reason
he's taking the
Madam
lesson.
Web shows them all how to do it.
Yes.
but you're right.
Bring
though. We
bring back the
talk-
Sonyverse. Sorry, I mean,
we talk about this all the
Bring back
time.
the Sonyverse.
How you can have a movie that, let's say, they're just trying to stitch death scenes together or whatever action sequences together, and it can completely fail if the writing in between is just so terrible. But this movie has good writing.
does.
So
It
you
does.
care
And
about the
also, right,
characters. It makes
the,
sense.
when he says the thing about the junior lifeguard, it establishes that she has not been in his life. The sister hasn't been in his life.
Yeah, because she's
So
shocked.
it's not just this piece of dialogue that's like, hey everybody, by the way, I went to
No,
lifeguard
it's
school.
it's character development, not what's the word? It's not. Why can't I think of it?
Lazy
Plot device?
exposition.
Laziness.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not just lazy exposition. It's a character development, and it comes back around. So anyway, they're safe. The kids going to prom. I know they're maybe a little upset by the dozen deaths
By
of their
all
family,
of
but,
their
they're-
family.
but
Yeah.
Everybody in the no.
gotta go to
I'm
prom,
sorry.
Joe.
No.
Prom is Prom's important.
Everybody in their family has died.
Everyone, but
Everyone.
Prom. But prom is this week.
But they've
so-
got the dad and the brother and the sister. That's
and
it.
they're all fine.
All
It's
of the
good.
cousins, their mother, their grandmother, their aunts and
know.
uncles, all dead.
I know.
So they're
But
going
would
to
you miss your
prom.
prom, Joe. It's senior prom.
I know. I went to 2, so
He had a hotel already booked
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
night.
you
What
So,
Joe's
yeah,
not
he's-
telling you is
There it
that
is.
when he went to those proms, he was 28 years old.
Right.
I
right, right.
was.
Oh, he was Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
He's been to
Wait,
more
how old
proms
was
than
I?
anybody.
I was. No, I was 18 and 19, for the record.
For
His
your
nickname
proms.
was Corsage Battisti.
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't know this. In Italian, Battisti means corsage.
Corsage.
Oh,
just buying
lovely.
corsages. That's all I'm doing.
So the prom date's dad is a doctor.
Yes.
And they tell him about, he says to the brother, he's quite the hero and all this. She's
This
like, yeah, I was.
this doctor.
So good.
So good.
So
like,
good.
Yeah,
I
so
know
good,
we said
yeah.
the brother is the MVP of the movie and he's great, but this doctor, for having like 3 lines,
Yeah,
is
right,
like
right.
chef's kiss when they're like, saved your life. And he's just like,
Did
Did
he,
you
wait,
know?
didn't he say
Like,
he brought her back from the dead?
yeah,
She
brought her
was
back to the
dead,
dead. Yeah.
This is
he's
the
like,
equivalent. This is the equivalent to the prison guard in that movie that Joe said is the MVP that was in one movie.
Which one?
Remember?
It was
He
a
has one line. It's
Joker
really-
was it the Joker one? Is that what you're talking about? The prison
I can't
guard?
remember- No, the prison guard is like no touching. No, it's who went to jail for
Oh yeah.
a few months or whatever. What movie
Oh,
was
I
that?
don't
Where
even
they go
know.
meet in jail and they have to serve their time.
Novocaine.
and it's like- Novocaine, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like-
that guy was great.
I know,
that
right?
guy
So
was
it's the
great.
Same thing where it's like maybe not as much screen time, but the percentage of just being awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy says, he's like, oh, he brought her back from the dead. And the doctor's like, not really.
This guy needs to be a meme in the same way that Thor being like, "Did you though?"
Yeah,
Like,
right.
He needs to be a meme.
That's
Yeah.
very
It's
funny.
Kids,
great.
if we have any 12-year-olds listening, one,
Do it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
2,
whoops.
make a meme, however that is.
So
Yeah.
the
Just make a
doctor
GIF.
basically says that if you gave CPR and brought her back to life, her heart was never stopped.
Right.
Which means she wasn't technically dead because
Right.
if you're technically dead, they use paddles or whatever and bring your heart back to
Right.
life. So she was never dead, which means death. There was no loophole to stop death.
And
then
so
all of a
we,
sudden-
we
Death
get
was
like
just
so-
waiting for a really dramatic
Correct.
moment.
Oh, he
and I
is
will
a-
say, like, what we didn't talk about it in the vision or the dream from the beginning is we see a red car going across train tracks, listening to a certain song. The grandmother is wearing a certain dress, so we see a red car go across some train tracks. We see
Well, the car is listening to the song that they're
Correct.
playing
Yes.
in the
Yeah,
And
beginning of
it's
the movie.
it's the kid's penny that
That's
when
right.
they're at the
itself.
hospital,
That's right. It is the
they
kid's
get
penny.
They get into the RV abruptly, and the penny from the beginning falls out of her murder book thing, and then an old lady that was at the hospital picks it up. So in this movie, parallel to them going to prom, she stops to buy some lemonade and gives.
She drops
digs into her
the
chains
penny, and that
and,
wedges
yeah.
itself in between train tracks, so the train can't transfer tracks. So this train derails.
Like takes out a
crashes into this neighborhood. Our two main characters are just running down the street from this train.
And this is another good head fake because you're like, oh, they're not going to just abruptly kill one of the two main characters. Nope.
No.
The kid,
Well, which I think
shit
the
loads.
best. I think the best head fake is the train stops. Like it stops
Right.
itself in the concrete, but what's on the train does not stop.
Yeah.
And they are two giant logs
Law.
that
Yeah.
come off the train and squish both of our main characters, and that's how it ends. And
Yeah.
that is the
Oh,
end of this.
I'm sure there's more little Easter eggs, but one of the things when they were trying to think of the name of the hospital, and they're like, "Oh, it's something Rivers, some blah blah blah." And this is actually an interesting little head fake. The girl from the girl from 1
Ally
is
Larder.
named Clear Rivers, and the mom is
Clear
going like,
or
"Oh, it's
Claire?"
something Clear.
Oh, I always thought it was
Her name's
Claire.
Clear?
Her name is Clear.
Oh,
Okay.
you thought she had
okay.
an accent.
Yeah.
So, did I? This is like I thought that what's the Scar's name in the Lion King prequel? Taka. I
Yeah.
thought his
Yeah.
name was Tucker, and he was going, "I'm Taka."
And
so
apparently
good.
Taka means like shit in Swahili.
Which is
so
even
he was-
funnier.
They named him.
Little
So yeah, Scar's the good guy. But, I mean, I
Yeah,
think
he's
we
not
all
a
agree on
stray. He's
that.
his brother.
Oh, God.
But they go. She's going. She's like, "Oh, it's something like."
It's
Falling
okay. They pay
Rivers.
reverse royalties when you sing that song because they want to advertise and no one's downloaded it, so they will pay us every time.
Cool. And then she says Clear, and then someone else goes Hope Rivers. And like, that's right, the
Oh.
hospital's called Hope Rivers. So you think they're gonna do, oh, it's called Clear Rivers, and then it's not.
That's
And
funny.
That's funny.
It's a good little, yeah, but obviously the big one is the logs that come off the train and legitimately
train.
squish our
I mean,
main
there's just-
characters. Like
And
there's
they,
no,
they tease the log truck, right? There's a head fake where a log
Yes.
truck goes by, drives by them. So you're like, oh my god! Like it's great they put that in there because I know everyone has been traumatized by that.
correct.
It's
This
it's
is
really
yeah.
fun.
This is a lot of
fun
fun.
movie, yeah.
It is a lot of fun. It's darkly funny. I could not believe that I was as into this flick as I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
really
fun.
good.
It's a 10 out of 10 Final Destination movie.
For
Like,
sure.
This is exactly
Yes.
what you want.
And it
from-
I think
made
it's-
like $50 million.
Did it
this
really?
weekend.
Did it do that
Yeah.
much?
It's
That's
the
so
highest
dope.
opening for a Final Destination movie
Oh, wow.
of all time. Yeah.
I think it's very funny that 6 movies in, there is no explanation for why they get these premonitions.
None.
Or why you would have these premonitions if they don't solve anything for you.
No, it's great. It's just great that out of the millions and millions of people, that are involved around these movies or whatever, like someone has visions. Like it's just
Visions that mean nothing. Visions that death's like,
Right,
hey,
it's
hey,
like-
you want a sneak preview? I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a blast. This
Yeah,
is,
it is. Yeah,
if you don't like Final Destination movies, this is not going to change your mind. But if you like Final Destination movies, I don't know
You're gonna
what
love it.
more you could ask for.
and as someone that's never seen one, I really don't think I've ever seen.
Kevin,
one
I
of the
really do
movies.
recommend 1, 2, and 5.
Yeah.
The first two were
Three
a lot of
three
fun.
is fine
yeah.
too.
But like having no love for this franchise and only knowing log truck is like the
Right.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, these are fun. This is a really fun
And it
movie.
really did work to where, like I said, I saw the first two. I remembered not one character's name. I didn't even remember who the actors were. I just saw them, and they were decent for what they were. And so, you don't need to have seen the first 5.
No,
No,
So
not at
don't
all.
feel like
This is,
I mean, you don't have to be like. I mean, what kind of sociopath would pound through all 5 of these movies
Oh.
before you go see them? You'd be a maniac.
Sicko, man. But
It is
you
also-
don't
it's
think you
funny
might be watching this and going, what are they carrying on that truck? What are those things?
I just want to throw this out there, Matt. You had mentioned that Osgood Perkins is maybe looking at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right,
That's
yes.
another franchise where you can watch any of them, and
There's no continuity.
there's no continuity between any of them. Like there is a 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they are all basically soft reboots of the first movie. Like
I think
none
if
of them
anything,
had
right,
any
it's
continuity with any of them.
Maybe the only one is the prequel to the remake.
The prequel to the remake, and then there are some other ones that are like direct sequels to the original. That it's very weird. Either way,
I mean-
all that entire franchise each movie has nothing to do with any of the other movies.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I don't think I've ever seen one, to be perfectly honest.
I
recommend
haven't.
the first one.
Just for
I
the-
recommend all of them.
I
Man.
mean, I do
They're
too,
all
but I was
so
like, if you're
good.
going to watch any of them, watch the original first one.
Just for the narration from John Larroquette.
That's right. He got paid
I
in
don't
weed
think
to do that.
there is Texas Chainsaw Massacre that I didn't enjoy on some level. Now, to be fair, some of that is just how awful they are, but all of those kind of come later. 2 is insane. The one
wacky.
with Matthew McConaughey. Did you think that the Illuminati would ever get involved in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Well, they do.
Give it time.
Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger
It's awesome.
in 4.
So anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the virtual table, and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter, on Threads, on Blue Sky, on Letterboxd, all the good stuff at Joey Butts, BUTTS21.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
This is Matt. I have a website, mattfbosler.com. You can find my Instagram at Matt F Basler. Same on Facebook, Matt F Basler. I'm a musician. I have music on Spotify under that name. Also, I play drums in middle class fashion. I have a screen printing business called Basler Screen Printing, and you can look up all of that as well at Basler Screen Printing, and I just hope you will, and I appreciate the listeners, and I appreciate Real Spoilers so much, and thank you.
You left out Nipple Magician.
Yeah, you got some wicked
They'll
nips.
see it. They'll find it.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean. Well, it is real spoilers. I didn't mean
Spoilers!
to ruin it for people,
Oh, no!
but That's what we do. That's what we do. And you can find me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. and on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, do all the things. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, Linda and Jim reconcile.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, 'cause we already